Yeshiva Dav Shesponsor Louis Nishba Asami Akashol Now Basitzchok and the Refuas Shlomo Ben for Shlomo Moshe Dasan Aaron Ben Menachem Mendel Borg Menachem for Shlomo, right. Slavachana. Okay. We're holding in Horayos Dav Gimel. We got the Gemara says we are in Amud Aleph, a few lines down in Amud Aleph. We're in the seventh line from the top. Rabbi Nachman Omer. What does the Gemara discuss? The Gemara brings that our Mishnah says. Let's go back to the katza that we're talking about. Our Mishnah says that if you have an individual who followed Beis Din, you have an individual who followed Beis Din, which means Beis Din told him, Beis Din said, this is mutter, and he followed them. So our Mishnah says he's not chayav korban chatos. That's our Mishnah. Says the Gemara, I'm not going to Shmuel Zudibir Rameir. That's the sheet of Rameir, our Mishnah. But Rabbanim disagree, and they hold that even if you did a Beres Beis Din, he's chayav. Yesterday's daf ended, and we're a little rushed through it, but to explain why. How the Gemara brother Rayo, the Rabbi Yudah, the moment to say the Armish is Rabbi Yudah, Rabbanim disagree. That was yesterday's daf. Today's daf, the Gemara is saying, no, Armish is Rameir, and Rabbanim disagree. My Rameir, my Rabbanim, what is it? The time. Hoyu v'osu. That's what it says. That's the Losha. Beis Din were Moireh, and they did. Rameir poiter v'choy mechayv. What does it mean? Vanos, who did? After Beis Din were murdered. Even Beis Din themselves did it. My time with the Rabbanim Mechayev. Why Rabbanim Mechayev? V'atanya yechul hoyu Beis Din v'osu Beis Din yechul yu chayovim. Could it be Beis Din were murdered and they did? Should it be chayav? Tomod loymar hakol v'osu. The call is the one who does it. Ma'aseh totally be called hoyu Beis Din. So this is an interesting concept. Like, what is it? Beis Din did not follow the Horayos, and based on that, they bring the korban Helim Dovash Tzibur, which is the korban Beis Din bring when they did something wrong. They have to pass it, and other people follow them. So Horayos also doesn't refer to Beis Din themselves, that they did based on their psak. That's how we're talking about. Ela Horayos Beis Din also Revekah. Elma, what are you telling me? They're paskin halacha, and the majority of Klai will follow them. My time in the Amir the Poiter. That's why Rameir says a butter. That's the classic case. They have to do that. You bring korban and doshel tzibur. Elav hoyu Beis Din v'osu miutakol. Beis Din paskin. You know who followed them? Only a minority. Ube'akavi v'gedatz machloikis. Ma sova yochid shoso baras Beis Din patur, u'ma sova yochid shoso baras Beis Din chayu. If you don't know the majority of Klai, so majority of Klai will follow Beis Din, then they bring korban and doshel tzibur. If what? Korban and doshel tzibur. But if they're not, if there's not a majority, what happens to the minority? Our Mishnah holds their potter. And can you push this for Dr. Rezorsky, the stud who covers his shiny face, or the Chacham is saying, no, that's the Machlokes. Who understands that he's going to be chayav. Chayav for what? Chayav korban chatos. No, everybody agrees that if you have an individual following Beis Din's patur, like our Mishnah says, even though we said that if Beis Din follow their Horayos, nothing happens, but that's if they are the only ones doing it. But if they're following, if they join the tzibur, then they could be part of the tzibur. Beis Din. So let's say the tzibur is 1 million people, and you have 500,000 people that follow Beis Din. That's not a right. But then you have Beis Din themselves, could be another 3 people, or 23, or 71. They follow as well. Oh, I have a majority. I have a majority because of Beis Din. Without Beis Din, I don't have a majority. That's the Machlokes. Ma'aseh Beis Din mashnu of tzibur, Ma'aseh Beis Din mashnu of tzibur. No, Can Beis Din be part of the tzibur or not? That's the case. Not the case of Yochid Shasobar as Beis Din. V'yibay Seimo Ru Beis Din V'osu Rubo Shakal. Beis Din Paskin and the majority of the crowd did. Uman Chachomim Rabbi Shimon the Omar Tzibur Maisi Ubeis Din Maisi. What we're talking about over here, really Beis Din did it. Beis Din Paskin. And the majority of the tzibur followed them. If so why? What's the machlokes? Do you have to have two korbanos? A korban for Beis Din and the korban for the tzibur. They both will be korbanos. Only Beis Din is a korban. Rabbi Shimon Shita is, and that's the shita over here of Rabbanon. They're chayav two korbanos. One the Beis Din, one the tzibur. And Ramesh says, no, it's only one korban. P'turim, their part, because Beis Din is giving a korban, that's it.
Is it tzibur, grov tzibur?
Yes. V'yibay Seimo, Shevis she'osah b'roz Beis Din. Another answer. We're not talking about majority of the tzibur. We're not talking about minority of the tzibur. We're talking about a full shevet that did it. It's a sheet that we'll see in the Masechta, that according to Rabbi Yehuda, one shevet that brought a korban, that their Beis Din told to do something, you have to bring their own korban, even though they only want 12 of Klal Yisrael. But every shevet, as you divide, you look at them on his own. That's the case over here. Kigon shechatu shisho ve'emru b'shakol, or yeshiva b'shein and emru b'shakol. Two options. 6 shvatim. How many shvatim do we have in Klal Yisrael? For the case of argument here is 12. And that's not what happened to Levi, but that we'll get to later. The Gemara is going to get to that. But right now you have 6. 6 is not great. But there happens to be that you take the number, the censorship, you'll see the majority. Or you have 7 shvatim, that's right, but it happened to be the number of people, they're less than the Rav. That's a machlekes like a one. Right? Umastisi b'nei Shimon lo zeh Shimon lo zoimer. It's a brayso, sorry. V'shmoich the name of Rameir. Chota shisha v'emru b'shakol or shia b'shein b'shakol chayovim. So that's the machlekes here. Rameir and Poiter, they're not Rav. They're Bonon Chayo because you go based on, you don't go only based on the numbers. You go also based on other parameters to decide who's the Rav. So that was another way the Gemara wanted to say that maybe that's the opinion of our Mishnah is an argument. When you're going based to find a majority, you know how you determine a majority? Based on the roiv of the people living in Eretz Yisrael. The Kahal Gadol from this place to this place. They did it for 14 days, the Simcha. It was the Chanukas of Amigdash. Why have to tell me where they came from? They came from this place. You know why? The only ones that we count is the ones that live in Eretz Yisrael. If they don't live in Eretz Yisrael, they don't. The Avnei Nezer in Tshuva explains this Gemara based on the Maharal. It's a famous Maharal. The Maharal says that when Masechet Sanhedrin, that Am Yisrael become a Ravim Zelazeh, they're responsible for each other only once they go into Eretz Yisrael. So the Maharal explains that only in Eretz Yisrael Am Yisrael becomes a full nation. Before that, they're individuals. The full nation is only them. So says Avnei Nezer, that's chat. You want to have a call is only the ones living in Eretz Yisrael. That's when you join as a tzibur. So now we have the following. We have a machlekes of Shimon Rabbanan in the following case. You have a din that if you have an individual who did a chet, he brings one type of korban. Kiv so say. But if it became a nasi, either a nasi of a shevet or a king, he brings a different korban. If it became a kohen gadol, he brings a different korban. The machlokes says like this: you have a person that when he did the chet, he did the sin, he was a regular individual, regular Joe. Then he became a nasi or a kohen gadol, and now he realized he made a mistake and he wants to bring the korban. Should he bring the korban like an individual, like a regular guy, or like a Nossi and a Kohen Gadol. So that's a machlekes of Reb Shimon and Rabbanan. Rabbanan say he's chayav like when he did it. And Reb Shimon says if they found out before, chayav, if not, they're potter. Now, Shiloh is like this. You have a tzibur that follows Beis Din. The tzibur that follows Beis Din change in terms of their majority or minority. They were originally minority, but then some of the other part of the Klal Yisrael died, part of them, and they became majority, or vice versa. They were the majority, some of them died, or new people were born or grew up in the minority, and now when they cut between the carbon, they're minority. So they changed from being the majority to minority, or vice versa. So says the Gemara, Pshito, Mirubi Mnismatu Hainu Pluktu Dev Shim Rabban. If they were a lot and they became little, they became a minority. So that's the machlekes of Shimon Rabban. The Shimon says they're potter. What?
If they were a minority, they came.
No, that's the next part. But right now the Gemara spoke of Mirubi Mnismatu. So Mirubi Mnismatu, they were majority. They were chav prior to Noshel Tzibur. Now they became individuals. Now they're not majority. So that's what Machlekes Rabbanan say. You go based on the beginning, they were majority. Now Shimon says, yeah, but now they're not majority. You go based on now. But what happens the opposite? Mu'atim min Yisrael. They were a minority, became majority. My. Bepliga of Shimon Rabbanan. Rabbi Shimon does about Yediyah Mechayev. Rabbanan does about Techato Patri. Rabbi Shimon that goes based on Yediyah. Yediyah means when they realize they made a mistake. So he says they're going to bring they're going to bring a korban el noshel tzibur because right now they're majority. And what I'd say, you go based on the chait, then they were a minority. Or maybe not. What's the maybe not? Really, what the Gemara is going to adjust right now. My betizbo, imu the shamas of Shimon those of off pasetio. Hechidad v'yediyah v'chato b'chiyuv. All we found Rabbi Shimon is that he says you have to have both. But to have only one, no. What does Shimon say? If you had a regular guy who became a Kohen Gadol and he found out he did a chet, he's going to bring nothing. Not a korban of an individual, not a korban of a Kohen Gadol. Because you need to have both. Chato, making the chet, and Yediyah finding out they did the chet at the same goof. Once you change in the middle, it stops. That's what one says, Yediyah b'lo chato misham ezlah. I never found, according to Shimon, the only knowing about the chet will bring a korban. You can, if it is Leisi Kiashto, you should bring the Kohen Gadol or the Nosi like now. So that's the Gemara says no. So when you have Mirubi Mnismatu, so now they lost their original status. So then you're right. Then Shimon will say they don't bring Korban El Noshel Tzibur. Rabbanan say they do bring, because you go based at the beginning. But if it changed, it was the opposite. They were Miyutim B'Nisrabu. So then you have a machlekes. Then we're not sure. According to Rabbanan, they go based at the beginning. So they don't make Perel Noshel Tzibur. According to Rabbi Shimon, I'm not sure if you go based at the end only, or you need to have both. The Gemara says you need to have both, because we see by Yochid that became Chashuv that you still go based on the original status. Says the Gemara. Ibaylu. Here's the question. How you Beis Din Chelev muter? Beis Din paskin the Chelev is muter. For also miutakol and the miut, the minority, follow them. V'chazu Beis Din bahem, and then Beis Din changed their mind. Said no, it's awesome. And then v'holu. Then they paskin again. Beis Din went 3 times back and forth. Beginning they said muter. Then they said awesome. Then they said mutter. And the first time, the minority followed them. The second time, osumiyut achim. Now, together, they're majority. But each time was only a minority following them. Now, because the 2 ideas, they don't join. Shtei ideas mean there's 2 different psaki halacha, 2 different followings. So they don't join. Or the mice, they pass the same thing. So they do mitzvah. The hint itself, because the same psak, miut bechel shal gevei akiva, miut bechel shal gevei adokin mao. What happens if you have two different psaks of chaylev? One is the chaylev which on the keva, one part of the animal on the stomach, and the other is the chaylev on the dakim, which is another part of the stomach, another part of the inside. Two different psukim, two different chalovim, lo mitzaref. They're both called chaylev. It's still called chaylev. What happens if it's chaylev and dam? Kivan the tray Syrian, one is chaylev, one is dam. Kivan the any Syrian shovel lo mitzav their own Jordan. Or Kivan the carbon of shovel, the mice they bring the same carbon when you eat chaylev and when you eat isur, so we mitzav. The miyut will join both. Kivan the carbon of shovel mitzav. Miyut b'chaylev, miyut b'aris kachavi mal. What happens if miyut b'chaylev kachavi mal? It's not the same Yisur, not the same carbon, because by Avedazor you bring a different carbon. Or deal with Kivan the curse with mitzvah. Nice to both curse. Says the Gemara, take. So the Gemara is not sure if you can join together or not. Discussion that we're showing you say take or not, we say. Ibailu. Horu Bezdin shechelev mutter. Bezdin paskin, the chelev is mutter. The minority follow them. Umeis oiso Bezdin. Then the Bezdin died. These Rabbanim died. Comes another Bezdin. And they pass it again, the same thing.
You change your mind, no?
Here means they're chayzer to be moyer. That's what I think in Legabe the second Bezdin. Not like I said before, we said the chazru Bezdin behem v'hoyu. He didn't say chazru behem. Chazru v'hoyu. They passed it again. They just did another psak.
The same thing?
Yeah, but they're different Bezdin, different people. Miut ach al libe the mandon Bezdin ma'isi lo tibai lo talid. If you hold the Bezdin are the ones who bring the carbon, it's not the same Bezdin. You can't bring it. Ela ki tibai lo kliba no but tzibur ma'isi. The tzibur are the ones who bring it. My tzibur hakoi. We have a tzibur. The same tzibur. So they want to give all the base.
Different tzibur, no?
Same tzibur, two different Bezdins.
Okay.
Same tzibur, same people. Just same crowd. Okay, what's the scenario? You have what? No. Two Bezdin, two groups of people that join together to one big group. Meaning, we have 30% of Klal Yisrael follow the first psak. The next 30% of Klal Yisrael follow the other psak. Together, 60% of Klal Yisrael together follow the psak. But they follow two different Bezdins. So Shiloh's they join together, the 30 and the 30. So once the Bezdin bring the carbon, of course they don't join because the Bezdin has to bring the carbon. It's two different Bezdins. But if you're saying that the tzibur brings the carbon, on my side I have 60% of the tzibur that did it. So do they bring the carbon? Or you deal with the Gimel base, you deal the Bezdin, the Oyu Beina. We need to have that same Bezdin paskening. Something more take, we're not sure.
Why did the second Bezdin wouldn't bring the carbon? Why?
No, because the majority didn't follow them. Only the minority followed them. The minority also followed the first Bezdin. So together maybe they have a majority, but this psak halacha only a minority did. You have 100 dayanim sitting down to paskin. All 100 have to paskin. The Gemara now understands it means all 100 have to say that this person is the chaylev is mutter. If one argued that, it has to be all 100. They all have to make the mistake. Everybody has to do the Horayos. That makes sense. We usually know that you go against the majority. It says kol. Why it says kol? To tell me you're not going to be the majority. You have to have everybody. So the more you the kach, I feel right? So it has to be all 100. Okay, but not as a shayla. Ask the Gemara from our Mishnah. Bezi Paskin. One of the Bezdin realized there was a mistake. That's our Mishnah. Oi Tami for the was a Tami Paskin. and he went and did follow them this dayon or talmid. What is that? What we learned yesterday in the Mishnah. Ben Shalosuv also one doesn't have anything together with him. Ben Shalosuv also did after them. Ben Shalosuv also. Harayos he didn't follow Beis Din. How do
we learned the last expression. Maybe I'm a little small.
That's something that we spoke about yesterday. That's a different thing. That's something else. You were here yesterday? Oh, so we'll talk about it after the show. I'll tell you. It's all shtick. Say, well, how do you patur? Ve'maya lo nigmar. 1 second. But if our Mishnah speaks about, you have one dayan who did not argue, who did not agree, but he still followed it. So he didn't paskin. You just said everybody has to paskin. You said one dayan did not.
He paskin.
He paskin against him. We said all of this he paskin this mutter. How come I ask you this is a very strange answer? It looked like he did paskin. They went around. They said, "Do you agree? Yes. Do you agree? Do you agree? Get to this guy. Do you agree?" He was like this. He was snoozing that way. They thought he said yes. He didn't really say yes. But because they thought he said yes, it's going to be they all did it. Very strange understanding of the Gemara. Tashma, who Beis Din v'yodei echad sheto. Right, so Beis Din did a row. One of them knows they made a mistake. We told him to make a mistake. Hooray le'pturim. Because he told him your mistake, so they don't bring a carbon tzibur. But if you're silent, chayovim. The gomalor one there was good. He disagreed. You need to have all of them saying yes. Again, he nodded with his head and didn't mean it. But again, back to that strange answer. We learned this. We learned Mesechus Avodah already. That you don't do a gzera unless the majority of the tzibur can accept it. My quote the pasuk says, you receiving on yourself a klala, meaning you accepted a klala and then you did against the klala. The klala was you have to do one thing and then you follow it. Hagoy kula. Hagoy kula means the entire nation agreed to it, and that's why it works. Which means what's a goy kula? Not all, right? As long as the majority of class accepted it. If it says kula, it means only majority. So you see, when it says kul, it doesn't mean all. So also when it says the Beis Din agreed, it doesn't mean all. You're right, not all of them have to say it. It says kol adas. They all have to be present. Not all have to agree. You have Beis Din sitting down, you have 70 people sitting down, 60 say this is mutter, 10 say no, you go based on the right. That's what you do. So that's what it means. But you don't have to have all ravers enough. You have 10 people within. Don't tell me I need only 3. But if they made a mistake, they share the blame together all 10. Pshita. If the Talmud is there and he can give his Rebbe some note, he's going to join the blame. Who knows? There was a very similar Losher we have in Masechet Sanhedrin. Who would have another Beidino when he went to Beis Din, Maisei Asor Tanoim, the very Rav came. He brought 10 Tanoim from Beis Rav in front of him. Shiva is like splinters, and Kshoira is a beam. When you saw the beam, you want to make sure that everybody gets a little bit of the splinters. So if there's something wrong that goes, we share the blame together. When they brought him a tray for the paskin, he brought 10 butchers of Machsel. He put it in front of them. In other words, we're all going to take the blame. If I paskin this thing is treif and I make him lose the money, and we all agree with me, so we all going to share the blame. It's not going to be only me. That's how we have. And there's a little bit of agat over here in your other gives a little shoes about it. Interesting concept that you have sharing the blame. Let's say, Zuk the Mishnah. How you Beis Din v'yodu shato? Beis Din paskin. and they know they made a mistake. They change their mind. It doesn't matter if they brought the korban or not. Someone did not realize that Beis Din changed their mind. He still went with the first halacha. I'm sure the point. Shmuel says it potter. Why? He followed Beis Din. Meaning Suffolk. We don't know. We're not so sure that he followed Beis Din. And that's why, what is he chayav? He's chayav Oshok Toli.
I know if you're not sure what the halacha.
We consider it to be a Suffolk. Rashi says, we're not sure if you can rely on this to say that he does not put the machatos. So what does he bring? Oshok Toli. Oshok Toli is whenever you don't know if to bring machatos, now you bring Oshok Toli. Ezu Suffolk will be the case of a Suffolk. If he was home and everybody knew all the WhatsApps and the text and the emails said Beis Din said that this Harira is wrong. He said I never checked it. I'm not so sure to rely on that or not. He's chayav korban Oshok Toli. But if he traveled, then he's off the grid. I'm going to give him moedani because I agree with you. Explain, because Ben Azai was, Blazer was a Talmud, so he said I agree with this. The what? Shu karoi liptori min hachoyv. Yeah, when he goes to Chutz La'aretz, he's probably going to eat potter with korbanos because he could say I trusted Beis Din's first halacha. I'm going to Ben Azai my shno zimna Yeshiva beisoi. What's the between that or he's sitting at home? We didn't hear about. Beis Doi, he should have heard the news. Chutza, it's not. So that's why it's different. If Beis Din paskin to take away a full mitzvah, Amrei need the bater, there's no need. Ain't Shabbos bater, there's no Shabbos. Ain't Eskachai bater, Harei luptur, there's no parahel dosh al tzibur. As the Gemara is going to say, we're going to learn from a mission. But if they said somewhat, okay, that will be the case. There's nido, but there's no shemer shemer keneged. Shemer means after the 7 days it may nido comes 11 days. If she sees blood, she becomes tummy for 1 day. They said that we don't have. Here's Shabbos batoyu. This is Shabbos, but I don't have. Yechezkel batoyu. I'm mishtachave potter. I'm coming, but not ashtachavo. Something is missing, not an entire mitzvah. Says the Gemara, my time with Shimon, when he followed Beis Din, even though Beis Din changed his mind, he followed Beis Din. He could have right? If the Ira was known to the word of Tzibur, what is the Ira there? To tell you, did I do it because of me or I did it because of Beis Din? Did I do it because I made a mistake or I didn't make a mistake? I followed Beis Din. It's called Shoygu Meiz in this case. Shoygu means I made a mistake. Meiz, I didn't make a mistake. I followed Beis Din. So Parang Tzibur is this case. It's Beis Din Paskin, and the Tzibur followed him. And Siyot Kachavim is also what? When Beis Din Paskin do it for the Zor. What's it in? Betchila goyvim aleim divrei Rav Shimon. Shimon says you have to do a fundraising. There will be a campaign. There will be a charity campaign. They're going to send text to everybody. 24 hours. Give something. There's a matching. We need to raise money to pay for this carbon. Right? Rida says, no. You don't do a match campaign. You'll take the money for Beis Hamikdash. So why if Shimon says he doesn't know about it? What do you mean? They just did a match campaign. And we all know if there's a match campaign, if there's a charity campaign, we all know about it. Because you get texts from your cousin, from your neighbor, everybody could. What do you mean? They raise money. Answer number one is when they raise money, they didn't say for what. They came around and said, there's a tzorech tzibur, they didn't go too much into details. He traveled that day. If I say, well, Rav Keidich Tana Sofar, Rav holds like the other Yerso. The Tanya Yipcho Betchila Goyim Land Divi Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda is the one who says that you fundraise. Shimon Oimim et Truma Salish Keim Boy. Shimon is the one who says you don't fundraise. So if Shimon L'Shitas, it goes very well. Shimon says, if basically change your mind, how is he supposed to know about it? Does he know? The other one knows where there's no, they're going to fundraise for it. So that's why according to Shimon L'Shitas, he says it could be there's unbeknownst that he didn't know the amazing change their mind. Very good. We'll stop over here. Everybody say Hashem.